promise it's a killer. You'll be banging on my chest, bang, bang.
Creature pick interdicts specifics about the South Pacific.
Yeah, but this band once, to me, doxed the use of bad location gags. Slow it down, I just dissed you. I said this man wants to be Dr. Seuss, so bad location gags.
Young Hank displays his incredible stormtrooper aim, even though he could literally walk right up to the other currently unarmed pilot and shoot him point blank.
This man was just involved in a dogfight where his plane ended up crash landing. My point is that he has a ton of adrenaline coursing through his veins right now, which could explain his disorientation and bad aim at this moment. Not to mention it would be silly to give up your advantage as a person with a gun by walking up to someone without one and giving them an opportunity to disable or disarm you.
Mark my words. There'll never be a more screwed up time in Washington.
Har har, but this attempt at a cheap laugh could literally be put into any political era and everyone would knowingly chuckle, hence the cheap part.
Even in 1789? Because I'm pretty sure Georgie was universally loved. Except by his slaves. Yeah, besides the house Negroes, I'm pretty sure they hated his guts.
Hang on, they've been sitting in gridlock in this cab for who knows how long, but they've been right in front of their destination?
You just said it yourself. No one knows how long they've been sitting in the cab. But judging from the cabbie's reaction to the traffic, it appears that they've recently arrived.
It's notorious for the number of ships and planes that have gone missing there.
Just out of curiosity, if a landmass has this much of a reputation, why is it just now being discovered?
The island is perpetually covered by a hurricane-level storm that prevents the outside world from knowing about it. Landsat is the oldest program to map the Earth using satellites, and they began this endeavor in 1972. This movie is set in 1973. Do you get where I'm going with this? By the way, here's where the director of this movie had merit when he criticized CinemaSins. Where is the joke in this sin? What is funny about asking a question? This is actual criticism of this film, and it's due to not paying attention. My point is that all the fanboys of CinemaSins points to this video as a director not being able to take a joke, but this video is filled with these kinds of criticisms that stem from not paying attention to what's going on. According to these fanboys, they're being wrong on purpose, so they cannot be criticized. This is the gray area that CinemaSins likes to hide in whenever someone criticizes their nonsensical claims, and for that, they get as many sins as they gave this film.
We could piggyback on that operation.
If there's some other government organization already going to the island to explore it, then why the hell would the senator even need Monarch to tag along?
He doesn't need to. Randa is trying to convince him to let them, and the senator only agrees because Randa and Brooks state that the Russians are going to get there first if they don't go. Landsat is only going to map the island. Monarch wants to explore the island and search for advances in science.
In case you confused it with the Da Nang Air Force Base in Des Moines, Iowa.
Yeah, but how many people who aren't Vietnamese know where the Da Nang is?
As if on cue, James gets into a fight to show off his survival skills right in front of guys who are going to hire him for that very thing.
Getting into a bar fight is a survival skill? And I'm pretty sure they have a military escort already and are hiring him for his tracking skills.
Foreshadow irony.
I'm cool with the foreshadowing part of this sin, even though I cannot possibly fathom how foreshadowing is something wrong, but irony? Aren't you a fucking writer? It amazes me how you don't seem to know the definitions of words that you use. The 2 books you wrote must be on the same level as The Hungry Caterpillar.
You're not actually gonna blame the people without guns for losing the war, are you?
Here's one of the main problems with this fucking movie. It seems like everyone has a manufactured conflict or bond after the first time they meet or are shown, and then it doesn't pay off in any way.
And here's one of the main problems with this fucking video. This conflict isn't paid off in any way. I'm pretty sure Nick Fury is the main antagonist, and Captain Marvel is one of the main protagonists, a conflict that directly results in his death.
As our satellites show, the island is surrounded by a perpetual storm system, allowing it to remain hidden from the outside world.
It's a lot like that TV show Lost. Anyone remember Lost here? Well, you will.
Here's a sin for not paying attention to the explanation for why they're only just now discovering the island.
And accompanied by biologist Miss San.
Biologist is conveniently hot, so that I'll keep watching this. Oh, that's the same chick from The Great Wall. And holy this movie made about the same amount of money in China that movie did. Anyway, this movie's blatant attempt to placate a Chinese audience is totally wasted in this movie.
Totally wasted? You sure about that, boss? Because I'm pretty sure this movie made 168 M's in China because of this chick. That's what you call a massacre in Tiananmen Square, if you know what I'm saying.
We'll use explosives to shake the earth and create vibrations, helping us to map the subsurface of the island.
The way Brooks is presenting this plan sounds ludicrous enough that someone should ask him why the f*** you would use explosives to map the island.
Again, another attempt to criticize the movie that's in no way a joke. Also again, you don't know what you're talking about. This method is called reflection seismology, or a seismic survey. Geologists literally use this technique in real life.
Once on the island, the storm's interference will block all radio contact with the ship.
Truthfully, I'm just excited to be playing another role besides the motion capture ape this time.
Hey, I know some of the background information about this film. Let me point that out and somehow count that as something wrong with this film.
You don't strike me as a war photographer.
Anti-war photographer.
Man, they'll let anyone on this fucking mission. Why the would a known anti-war photographer be invited to shoot a government-funded military-assisted exploration?
If you were actually paying attention to this film, you'd have seen the scene where Weaver gets a phone call explaining that she campaigned to document the island mapping expedition by Landsat. She's an investigative photojournalist, and this mission literally has nothing to do with war.
There is no way I'm getting on that helicopter.
Why do movies even bother with this bullshit anymore?
Because people still laugh at it, and the last time I checked, the audience is king. Kong.
If this is truly
The land where God did not finish creation.
why the hell do they have regular-ass seagulls on this island? Everything else seems to be deadly, except for these regular-ass seagulls.
Jeremy takes hyperbole, metaphors, and idioms at face value cliche.
God damn these stupid f***ing bombs and their unopposed use in this f***ing movie. Hey, we just found the one island that's been uncharted throughout all of civilization. Now let's immediately bomb the f*** out of it.
Seismic survey. Look, just because we might not morally agree with something doesn't mean it doesn't have merit. This is a solid and practical way of mapping an island in the short time they have allotted for this mission.
Cole's not excited about the bombs going off. He's just happy that the director chose him for the obligatory destruction reflecting off sunglasses shot.
This isn't even Cole. That's a whole nother guy.
The pilot, who has basically one job, somehow fails to see this tree flying in slow motion towards them and does nothing to evade it.
There was nothing slow motion about that tree flying at the helo. In the full speed scene, you can see that the tree flew at the helicopter in roughly 3 seconds, not to mention he clearly did try to evade.
Would it have killed you to show the guy falling into Kong's mouth? Or was that too gruesome, considering later you have a graphic shot of a guy getting impaled by a spider leg?
Channel named CinemaSins doesn't know what a match cut is.
Helicopters, most of which contain civilians who are now just seeing the large and dangerous prehistoric ape, continue to fly right at the large and dangerous prehistoric ape.
It's almost as if you haven't seen this movie or something. Throughout the entirety of the film, Packard demonstrates that he will put everyone's life at risk to accomplish his goals.
Is that a monkey?
The twist is, it's actually you!
Hey, I know some of the background information about this film. Let me...
Movies are art. So did Kong slam this helicopter to explode in a fashion by which the flames would create this symmetrical stare down between Packard and Kong? Probably not. It's just a visual expressing itself in a manner pleasing to our eyes and brains. But I'm sinning it anyway, because I'm a dick who takes things literally, and Packard should be dead.
I'm not sure if I should remove sins for the self-awareness or give sins for the lack of self-awareness to correct themselves. Oh, right. This series is called Everything Wrong with CinemaSins.
Cole, what's wrong with you? How you even got an appetite right now?
I'm going to guess in the script that Jason Mitchell's character was not called Mills, but guy who's always comically yelling at character as of yet undefined. And the dialogue was written in coffee stains.
Jason Mitchell's character is written to be the audience surrogate, a trope in film where a character in a movie says or asks things the audience would. They also act as the comic relief. Amazing I have to explain this to one of the largest film criticism channels on YouTube.
We just got taken down by a monkey the size of a building.
And apparently he just pieced the f*** out afterwards, even though you guys are being incredibly loud. And that's what he apparently got pissed off about in the first place.
You honestly think King Kong attacked them because they were being loud, opposed to him perceiving the humans as attacking the island and waking up the skullcrawlers? This man has nearly 9 million subscribers.
Out of 1,000 young men on that ship, I was the only survivor.
Careful, Bill. I hear Elijah Price is looking for a guy like that.
Jeremy makes a pop culture We get it! Sam Jackson is in a lot of movies. Moving on.
My agency is known as Monarch. We specialize in the hunt for massive unidentified terrestrial organisms.
What exactly did Monarch find that kept the US government funding it for 30 years? If Randa is a crackpot, then there never was any real proof of monsters, and the government decided to keep throwing money at this for no reason.
This isn't true. Monarch was formed a year after World War II when they discovered a cell of the kaiju Shinomura. In the 50s, Monarch helped lure Godzilla and Shinomura to an island to attempt to blow both of them up with a nuclear weapon, an event that would become known as Castle Bravo, the namesake of the underwater base in Godzilla King of the Monsters. This is expanded upon in the MonsterVerse prequel, Godzilla Awakening.
Giant spider somehow went unnoticed until now, even though he's got giant bamboo-like legs.
They're standing in a bamboo forest, and Jeremy is confused why they don't notice the legs of this mother-long legs, which has evolved to look like bamboo.
All these giant, dangerous, prehistoric creatures appear exactly once apiece in this movie.
This is true for the mother longlegs and the spore mantis, but the skullcrawlers, cycle vultures, and scur buffaloes appear quite a few times.
And one day, the damnedest thing happened. Some of the things they were afraid of started protecting them against the things that were eating them.
Why? Nobody knows. Seems like a creature like Kong wouldn't care one whit about a bunch of humans getting slayed by giant monsters, but I guess it's all so he can be the good guy.
King Kong and his race keep the equilibrium on this island. This is why he protects it and the creatures that are preyed upon by the vicious skullcrawlers. This includes humans. The film explicitly states that Kong is the answer to the lizards.
Kong is God on this island. He's the only thing keeping them lizard things on the ground.
He's right, Colonel. We can't kill Kong. Now, that other creature, that's the threat. And there are more of them down there. If you take away a species' natural competition, they'll proliferate out of control.
They come from the vents, deep down. That's why Kong got so mad. Those bombs woke up a bunch of them.
Seems like the natives, along with their buddy Kong, could have built walls around the vents so that they could contain them, or even sealed the vents.
He can handle them as long as he gets to them when they're still small.
Awesome fight sequence is hijacked by unnecessary narration.
Bullshit. This explanation is needed for you and your mouth-breathing, borderline handicapped audience that need everything spelled out for them with crayons and Play-Doh. Otherwise, you'd ask why King Kong is able to handle these two at one time, but struggles with the one at the end.
Kong's the last of his kind, but he's still growing.
Of course he is, because how else would he eventually match up with the much larger Godzilla in the next installation of this universe, but still make this movie somewhat believable?
This is just a throwaway comment, meant to provide filler for this video. Kind of like what I'm doing right now.
While the guys get to work on fixing the boat, Mason unhelpfully tours the village and takes pictures, and I guess Sans taking a nap or something, since that's what this movie thinks of women's roles.
She's a photojournalist. She's photojournaling. Besides, she later helps to build and start the boat, distract the big skullcrawler long enough for Kong to kill him, and kills one of the skullcrawlers in the graveyard. She was incredibly useful.
Sometimes an enemy doesn't exist till you're looking for one.
This dialogue is so stupidly pedantic that I'm starting to think the script was written by Yogi Berra.
No, this dialogue was meant to criticize CinemaSins.
This guy survived way too long for this to be the end of it. I mean, in reality, it makes sense that something on the island would randomly kill him like this. But we've been following this dude trying to make his way back in 3 different scenes, like he was going to be a major puzzle piece in the plot. But nope, just feels like they were trying to give Toby Kebbell more face time other than his work as Kong.
I'm confused. Don't you always attempt to send films on the basis of, this isn't how reality works? But now you're sending something for being realistic, and combining it with a lie by saying his character isn't a major puzzle piece to the plot. I'm pretty sure main characters die trying to reach this guy.
They just got this fucking weird boat made of airplane parts to work, and yet the natives instinctively knew to come down here and say goodbye to Hank.
The boat was already working at this point. The natives were audience to Marlowe and Gunpei building this boat, and almost assuredly knew what it meant if the boat were ever completed.
In 24 hours, we have to be on the other side of this island.
We don't got time for that, man. Put the cigarette out.
Movie inserts stupid cigarette smoking scenes so that we know this shit around here is flammable.
This is 1973, and these are Vietnam veterans. The real sin is that these guys aren't smoking in every scene.
This skullcrawler vomits Chapman's head and his dog tags only feet away from the people who are looking for him, because the director thinks using your brain is for pussies.
Fortunately, you won't ever be confused for using your brain.
Why doesn't Conrad pull them back right this second? He's seen the skull and the ID, and can literally show both to the Colonel right now. This movie's aggressively stupid.
How would that solve the issue of them being stalked by a giant lizard? Dude, the only thing aggressively stupid here is the CinemaSins writing team.
Set up to 50!
Hang on, there were also regular dinosaurs like Triceratops on the island? Are we sure this isn't actually Isla Nublar?
First of all, that ain't a regular Triceratops, as that skull is a bit larger than an actual Triceratops skull. But even if that were a regular Triceratops, what's so weird about that? You're literally watching a film series with living dinosaurs, and if regular humans and animals exist, that means evolution has taken place in this universe, and regular dinosaurs would absolutely be a thing.
It's amazing during all this commotion, King Kong never comes by to see what's up. He was super upset when they dropped the bombs earlier because of the noise, but now he's like, f*** it.
I'm gonna let you finish, but Cheese Larson is over here being useful, and you're conveniently ignoring it.
I know he's big and strong and all, but Kong survives this.
Barely.
Man, I'm sure glad Brie Larson is in this scene. She brings so much to the table here.
I think it's telling that Jeremy is a bigger SJW than Brie f***ing Larson, because not even she complained about her role in this film.
Die, you motherfucker!
This movie will remain PG-13, goddammit.
Sins a movie for not cursing, censors nearly every curse word. CinemaSins, ladies and gentlemen.
Go live your life.
Movie seriously thinks it can wring an emotional human moment out of this puppet show.
One thing that I've noticed about CinemaSins is that they will attempt to appease the audience by sinning bad movies really harshly while being lenient to internet consensus good films. Somewhere between writing for this movie, they seem to have gotten their antennas crossed because they seem to think the audience dislikes this movie and are being overly harsh because they think we will appreciate this shit. I gotta tell you, we are not amused.
Jeez, how many ex machinas are in this movie?
There are 0 ex machinas in this movie, but there are 5 sins for misusing the term.
Not only does this non-military photographer have perfect aim to hit a moving target with a goddamn flare gun, this actually distracts this dipshit from advancing on the hapless boat.
Ignoring Bree being useful yet again. Besides, how perfect does your aim have to be to hit a 200-foot lizard that's slowly walking?
Jesus, how many fucking cameras did they take to film this reunion?
I don't give a shit what you're talking about. I just want to leave you with this word from the director. Is CinemaSins satire?
No, it's not. Satire is not bankruptcy. You cannot just declare it. Look, you guys can criticize my movie all you want. All I ask is if you do it, have some f***ing merit to it.
Men.
Oh, you ready to blow?
Yeah, I'm ready to blow.
Well, I'm a mushroom cloud laying motherfucker.